Hello! With this video I'd like to give you the basics of smart magnet rigging and also introduce some important terminology which will obviously allow you to follow the articles and the examples much more easily from now on. So to start with, I'll just draw several shapes. I'll just alt drag and duplicate this one, and I'll duplicate it once again, but we'll shorten it. This will be a very simple representation of an upper limb. I will now convert these to symbols one by one without naming them, and I will leave the registration in the middle just like this. So symbol 2 and symbol 3. The only requirement for a bunch of symbols to be converted to a smart magnet rig is proper registration at joints, which means that if we imagine that this is upper arm, this is lower arm, and this is hand, these have to be registered upper arm in shoulder, lower arm in elbow, and hand in wrist. How do we do this? You may have come across set reg point to transform point, which is not specifically marked as a smart magnet rig command. You can see some other commands have SMR in brackets at the end of their command name, while set reg point to transform point is a universal command, but it's very useful in the process of smart magnet rigging. So I'll execute the command, and what it did, it just re-registered this symbol moving the reg point over the transformation point, and I will just go Ctrl T to re-register this one and Ctrl T to re-register this one. Now I'll stop these symbols and we'll move this one away for a while. Now, if you have read the article, you may have paid attention that I said in the article that for a smart magnet rig to function, we need two active points. We need the registration point and we need a magnet point. So let me introduce the magnet point or the magnet target. I'll double click this so that we enter this symbol, and now let's look at our commands again. There's this command here called create magnet target or center marker. It has two shortcuts. It's a dual function command. One of them is shift plus tilde and the other one's alt plus tilde. I'll now invoke the command from the menu, and what happened is it created this red circle, which is in fact invisible. It created also a layer for it. It's a guided layer, and the circle is only visible when we're in outline mode because it is completely transparent. So to see this circle, we need to be in outline mode. The circle resides in a folder called EDAP objects, and it's called the magnet target. So now when we place this magnet target here, we're inside symbol 1, the upper arm symbol, and we go outside and have this other symbol in proximity to the magnet target. We can already use it to magnetically snap one symbol to the other. There's a command called smart magnet joint. Shortcut key is tilde. If I trigger the command, you see one symbol snapped to the other one. Let me just rotate it a little bit and press the shortcut key. You can see it snaps. Now, if I go inside this and move the magnet target, you can see that the registration point of this other symbol seeks for the magnet target and snaps to it. Now let's introduce a magnet target here in this other symbol. I'll do it with the shortcut key this time. So I'll go Shift plus tilde, and there is my magnet target. I'll just put it somewhere here. Go outside, bring our imaginary hand in proximity to the magnet target, press tilde, and there you go. It snaps to the magnet target. Now, I'm really not very happy with the way these are aligned, and there is still no structure. If this one is in proximity to this other magnet target, it will just snap there. So they don't really have a hierarchy, they don't know who is who. Now let's create a structure. Let's give them metadata so that they know which is which. We do this via the Smart Magnet Rig panel. We open the panel, we create a new rig, we give it some name. This blue dot here is the so-called master parent. We always start from it and we create a representation of our structure. So in this case, it's a linear structure with just 3 elements. So with this tool, we create 2 more nodes. And then we choose the tag tool and click on an element and then click on its representation in the panel. This tags the element with Smart Magnet Rig info. The next level is unlocked and we tag the next level with metadata. And finally we tag the hand. Now when this is done, we don't need the panel anymore. You can see there's been some confirmation. The look of the icons has changed a little bit. Now, if we disassemble this and select the first element, we have access to a bunch of commands. First of them is Smart Transform, which allows us to chain select the children. So now you can see we only had selected this one, but by triggering Smart Transform, it chain selected the 3 elements, and now I can run Smart Magnet Joint and the 3 will snap together. So now they know where they belong in the hierarchy. I can now use Kineflex, which is this tool here, and they will behave as a chain. If I'm not happy with the way they articulate, I can make some adjustments. Now let's see how we can improve the relative position of these elements in relation to one another. Let me try to make these 2 articulate as well as possible, just like this, by using the arrow keys. I'm not too sure if this is well positioned in the center. Maybe a center would be somewhere here. I'll re-register this symbol, and I will now position this one somehow like this, and I'll try to re-register it so that it's more in the center of this overlapping circle. Control T, which is set reg point to transform point. Now we need to match these elements, these centers, and this is how we do it. Now when I enter this symbol, I'll create another type of invisible object, which is the center marker. We create the center marker with this same command, but the shortcut key is Alt plus tilde. We don't see it here, but that's what the shortcut key for create center marker is. If I hold down Alt on my keyboard and I choose the command from the menu, you see what happened? A layer was created here, a center marker symbol was added to the library, and the blue diamond-shaped object was placed over the registration point of our symbol. If we switch off the outline mode, it disappears because it's invisible, the same as the magnet target. Now, if we go outside and we enter the other symbol, the lower arm symbol, and go in outline mode, we'll see where our magnet target needs to be in order for this joint to articulate much better. At this stage, when the magnet target's in proximity of a center marker, all I need to do is just press the tilde key and it will snap over the center marker. Now let's add a center marker here as well in the lower arm. Center markers are always automatically placed over the reg point of a symbol. So now in outline mode, we can see where our lower arm symbol is registered. So if we go into the upper arm, we can adjust the position of this magnet target. I'll just bring it in proximity and press tilde, which is Smart Magnet Joints. When we have a magnet target selected, the command knows that it needs to look for a center marker in another symbol. Now, if I go outside and look at our little system here, I can grab Kineflex and see it works much better. I'll just switch off the coloring of the chain so that we can see how our chain works. Let us try the magnet joints again. If I select this one and press tilde, it will snap to its parent. If I press Ctrl tilde, it will snap to its child. Here we have two options. We can snap up the chain toward the parents or down the chain toward the children. We can make chain selection down the chain, just like this, or we can make chain selection up the chain. If we go down the chain, the transformation point is placed in the registration point of the highest ranking parent of this selection, so we can start modifying it like this with Smart Transform. If I go down the chain, it will stay there. And if I start from here and go up the chain, it will chain select upward and place the transformation point in the shoulder. So we have the options of Kineflex with soft rotation and hard rotation. And we have the magnet joints that allow us to snap up or down the chain. And we have Smart Transform, which allows us to do chain selections up and down the chain. Now, if I distribute these to layers and create a key and create some kind of an animation here, just like this, and tween them, we shall see the typical problem with classic tweens. The elements travel along straight lines and the overall shape just melts down in the middle of the tween. A way to fix this problem, again by using the magnet joints, is our cleanup command. So in this case, we'll only need these two to be cleaned up. When we're happy with our movement, we select the elements in the second key and we go clean up. What the command does, it auto-generates all these keys, and you can see now the movement is not breaking anymore. They do not overlap. So now let's just complicate the task a little further. I'll get rid of these keys and I will open the Smart Magnet Rig panel again. By the way, in all versions of Flash, the panels are under other panels and then Smart Magnet Rig, while in Animate CC, they reside under extensions and then Smart Magnet Rig. It's all the same, it's just different location. So I will select these elements and get rid of the metadata. Now when the metadata is erased, the elements will not know that they belong to a chain anymore. Like I can't do, as you can see, I can't do chain selection. If I try to snap them, they can't snap until they're in very close proximity to the nearest magnet target, and as you can see, this one snaps to the wrong magnet target. Now, this was just to show you that Smart Magnet Rig info has been erased from these elements. Now, I'll draw just a rectangle, which will be a representation of a torso, and I'll convert this to a symbol. I will re-register this torso. And I will slightly alter the position and the flow of this just a little bit, and somehow position it so that it looks like an arm. Now I'll alt drag holding shift and then I'll flip to have another arm. Let's look at the outline view, kind of alright. Now what we have to do is inside the torso add a couple of magnet targets for our arms. Let's go in outline mode and look what the situation is here. Now we're missing an important bit of information. We don't know where the centers of these are, so we'll need to enter this symbol and give it a center marker. I'll press Alt plus tilde and now we have a center marker here. Now I'll go outside and go inside the body. When inside the body, I will place two magnet targets, one for this arm and one for the other arm. Let's go outside and let's create a node-based representation of this structure in the panel. So I'll create a new rig, call it test2, and then this will be our master parent, which will be our torso. Out of the master parent we have upper arm, lower arm and hand, and then the other upper arm, lower arm and hand, three elements connected to the torso. When we go in tagging mode, you can see that these got disabled and the only one that's active is the master parent. We always start tagging from the master parent. So click on the active element and then tag it with metadata. Click on an element and tag, click and tag, click and tag. Now we're done. I can close the panel and we can try our part rig with Kineflex. You can see we can move it, we can do soft rotation, we can do hard rotation, and these work just as they should. If we disassemble it and select the master parent, press 1, which chain selects all the children, and press tilde, everything will snap back in place. And of course all the other commands will be working. So smart transform, selecting down the chain, smart transform selecting up the chain, Kineflex, and snapping also down the chain and up the chain. Okay, now let's give this character a head, and I will just tell you one more thing before I go. Let's just draw a circle, convert this to a symbol, change its registration somewhere here. Now let's go inside the head and add a center marker. Now let's go in outline mode, go inside the torso and add a magnet target for the head. Snap it over the center marker for the head. Now let's open the panel again. Now let's load the rig and add an extra element here for the head. Now let's select the head and tag it with metadata. If we use Kineflex, we'll see the head is just behaving the way it should. Now I'd like to show you one last thing before I go. Imagine that you would like to have a second frame here, which is a foreshortened version of this lower arm. So I'll just make it short, just like this. The only thing that you need to do is in this second frame, you need to move your magnet target just there. And then if you go outside and choose this second frame, the magnet target will tell the hand to snap there. So if you would like to have some kind of a foreshortened version of your arm for some gesture, you can do this. On top of that, if we go inside and decide to have a shape tween, we can just have this shape tween, and we can have a classic tween for the magnet target. So if we go here and choose any of these other frames, the hand will snap to whatever frame is shown as the active frame. Now this is now frame number 5. If we enter, this is the last one. So let's just choose frame number 4. This is frame number 4 here. It will just snap to frame number 4. So this is it for now. I hope this has been helpful and it clarified the foundations of the smart magnet rigging, the two active points of each element, the registration point, and the magnet target. Of course, the torso has many more, and we can have more magnet targets than just one, but one is the minimum for any element that's a part of a chain, except of course for the last element, which doesn't need a magnet target because nothing snaps to it. This is all for now. Thanks for watching.